Hey friends, Shalon here with Bible Journaling Ministries creative team. Grab your distress inks, an ink pad, one of your favorite stamps if you have one, a plastic sleeve that's stickers may come in that you've held onto, and your gesso, and come with me as we create a beautiful background using water, baby wipes, and inks, and use this beautiful kit for Ecclesiastes 3:11. So if you're ready, let's get started. And for this video, I am going to show you how to use distress inks, just an illustrated faith black ink pad, gesso, which I very rarely use. If you've seen any of my technique videos, I very rarely ever gesso my page, but for this I am using gesso, a very old, probably retired stamp from Stampin' Up, and just a plastic sleeve that like cardstock or pretty papers or something like that comes in. So I'm going to use this, but first I want to show you just how beautiful the kit that I will be using is. So this is the bonus kit for Ecclesiastes 3:11, entitled Everything Beautiful. And our focus verse is Ecclesiastes 3:11, and it says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in their hearts, yet so that man can't find out the work that God has done from the beginning even to the end." And it's got all of these beautiful fall colors, the turquoise and the taupe or beige, the creamy white. This first page of this 3-page kit has the verse and all of the pumpkins, crosses, mason jars with cotton stems, some cotton stems. And the words here say everything beautiful in its time. We have the tab washi tapes at the bottom. Just beautiful. Now I have printed this on sticker paper, white sticker paper, and cut it with my Silhouette machine. The second page has your Faith Decks cards, some more beautiful floral stems, flags, crosses, and some more washi. And the third page has the larger elements with the mason jars, pumpkins, an arrangement here and here, and then larger typed words, everything beautiful in its time. Now I'm going to show you where I was testing my technique that I wanted to show you with my distress inks and my stamp. Now what I wanted to do was to create a beautiful background, because these elements are so pretty, and the colors, I'm just drawn to the colors very much. So I wanted to practice on just a piece of copy paper, to try to make sure that I liked what I was doing. And when you see it, you will notice that I have some different colors that I'm not going to be using because I did not love them, and I felt like they were the wrong tone, and maybe they were just too dark. But this is how I am going to make our background for this page, using the distress inks and a stamp and some water. Now if you don't have a water bottle like this, it's okay. I'm going to show you how to use baby wipes on your plastic to create the same effect. So I'm going to show you how to do that in 2 different ways. But this is just an example of how I would like for my background to look on my page, on my Bible page. Now some of it is a little dark for my liking, but I just tested this out and this technique, and so I wanted to share it with you. But this is really neat, and I may make this a tip-in somewhere else using something else, but I just wanted to show you what we're going to do. So I did start out with putting gesso on my Bible page. And again, I am not one to prep my page using gesso. However, because this gets very wet, I did not want it to necessarily bleed through on my other page. And as you can see, it's still a little wet, but that's okay. It's going to dry. I am going to washi tape over my verse, Ecclesiastes 3:11. Now what is on the kit is the WEB translation. In my Bible that I use for all of my momentum kits from Bible Journaling Ministries, this is an NIV. So the NIV verse says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end." So I am going to washi over that verse with my washi tape, just so that I don't cover up the words of my focus verse. And I do always try to de-stick take some of the sticky off of my washi before I put it on my Bible, because I don't want to pull the words up. I've done that several times, and I don't want to do that this time. If you've seen any of my tutorials also, I use something to create a clean edge on my washi tape. Very strange. It's just the way my brain works. So I'm going to start here and washi over verse 11. And I'm just going to hold my, gives a good straight edge there. And my washi tape is a little wide, but that's okay because it covers up most of the verse of the words, so that I don't get any ink or anything like that over my focus verse. So I will lay this down and stop right where verse 12 begins. Okay, all right. I'm going to put something under my page just to protect a little bit. I'm going to move this over to the side because I want you to be able to see this technique that I am going to be using. So I'm just going to start out by getting my plastic sleeve here, and I want to start with this Jim Holtz Ranger Distress ink in salvaged patina. And all I'm going to do is just, now you can do it down like this in any kind of design that you want. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it does kind of make, I mean, it's a square, it's a perfect square. So if you do it like this, just on the plastic, it gives you perfect squares. Now I'm going to take my water bottle here, and I'm just going to spritz a couple of times. Now you can bend this and smush it on the plastic, or you can just leave it like this, but then I'm just going to take it and lay it across my page. No, very random, but it gives me almost a watercolor look on here. And as you can see, it is a wet medium, so that's why I gessoed over my page first, because I did not necessarily want it to bleed through, and it did just a little bit, but it could have been wet on here, but that's okay. I'm going to move this to the side. And if you don't have a water bottle, a spray bottle, that's okay. I'm just going to take a baby wipe and wipe my plastic. And this is going to leave some moisture on the plastic sleeve. So as I move on to a different color, I'm going to use the Ranger Vintage Photo. And this is still a little wet. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's use a different baby wipe that's I'm just going to wipe that off again. It's wet. And then I'm going to take my pad here and just, now I'm going to twist as I put my, like this, to give me a little different look and texture. Back on. And now I'm going to come over here to my page. I'm just going to, again, random, nothing, and just part of it. I'm not even going to do the whole thing. Just to add that color. And I got it on my thumb. Okay, so I'm not going to put any more of the dark brown on there. I am going to take another baby wipe. Actually, I'm going to use the one that I just used to clean this off. And I am going to use a paper towel to dry it because I'm going to use my water next. And I don't want it too wet because then it kind of puddles, and I don't want it to puddle on my page as a background. So I'm just going to, this color, I am so sorry, this is Antique Linen, and I'm just going to do this at the top. This to me is almost, it almost has a metallic tinge to it. And I'm just going to spritz lightly. And I'm going to take my page cover out just for the moment because I want to be able to now I'm just going to put this down without using anything. No water, no baby wipe on the dry plastic. So you're giving it almost a distressed look depending on how you mix your colors, as well as whether you use water over your inks or a baby wipe before you put your inks down, or nothing at all. Now, I did not let my inks dry in between placing the different colors down, but that's okay. This is more of a watercolor look. It's beautiful. And you can't tell really well on camera, but these here give it a texture. So I'm going to let these dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to use my very old Stampin' Up stamp here. And it has words on it and some floral pieces and some flowers. But I thought it would be beautiful as a background on my background, for my background. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll come back and I'm going to use just my black ink and my stamp to finish creating my background. So we'll let this dry and I'll be right back. Okay, so my design, my background has dried, and I did use a blow dryer to dry it, and then I added a page protector behind it. Now this one is a little stiff. Let's see, maybe I should use the one that I started with. It's a little more flexible and will fit into the gutter behind it. Yes, that's better. Now if you don't have one page protector that is flexible, you'll just have to keep your hand on it if you want it to be all the way in the gutter, because as you saw before, when I let go, that other one kind of slid out. So I'm going to take my stamp and my ink pad. Now I like to take my ink pad and put it on my stamp. You can, of course, do like this with your stamp, but I like to make sure I have enough ink on it. So I take it and use my ink pad and apply it to my stamping block instead of my stamping block on my ink pad. So now that I have it covered pretty well, I'm just going to choose where to put these words. And I place it down and rock. And as you can see, it's light, and that's okay. I'm going to do this again. To reposition my page protector. I'm going to do it in this corner up here now. And as you can see, it's darker here than on this design, and that's okay. I added more pressure and there was more ink. Now if you just wanted to do the side, let's just do the side here. Just place that off. Okay, now I've got my background complete. So I'm just going to clean off my stamp with either a baby wipe or a paper towel. And I have had that Illustrated Faith ink block for, oh my gosh, probably 6 or 7 years, and you can see it is still very effective and the ink lasts a very long time. Okay, so I've got my stamp all cleaned off, and you want to let that ink dry. I'm going to go ahead and pull my washi tape off. And I know when I create full page backgrounds that some things are going to be covered with my elements, and I am okay with that. Now I'm just going to take a zebra mild liner highlighter and highlight my verse. I think I'm going to use this lighter kind of a turquoise blue that matches. Yes. And I'm just going to highlight my verse. It almost matches my ink that I used perfectly. So I'm going to come back with a pen, and I'm just going to use my Illustrated Faith 0.25 black pen, and I'm just going to underline my verse so that it stands out a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my focus verse where it stands out. And now the fun part, because now I get to use these beautiful elements from the kit. So I'm going to start out with my tab. And I will say I only use the tabs with my momentum. I don't tab my Bible except when I am using my momentum kits. It's just a personal preference for me. I'm going to place this here. And as you can see, it did go through some on the other side. I don't worry about that. These little places here are actually where my gesso, I believe, was still wet, and so it absorbed the color and come through on the other side. But that's okay. It doesn't bother me at all. Okay, I want to use, I was going to say I want to use these larger elements. However, because my margin is only a 2-inch margin, I think I'm going to anyway. And we will adjust accordingly. I'm going to lay this right along the side of my scripture. And then I'm going to turn this over and just cut the excess. Now you could leave the excess. I just choose not to. I want my tabs to be kind of the only thing that's out there. So I'm going to turn this over just in case this is wet as I press this down. And I'm going to use my little These little embroidery scissors I find are the easiest and most precise way to do cutting like this because they're teeny. So I'm just going to cut along the back side of the page like this. And I believe because of how it comes on the tab, and then I can't see it on the tab except right here, I'm going to cut around the tab and leave part of that element. Okay, so I got that done, and as you can see, I've got a pretty good little leftover, so I'm just going to add that back onto my page back onto my sticker page here. And now, as you can see, I just have the two and then the little cotton stems here. Okay. I'm going to use the smaller words. And I'm not going to use very many of the elements because I want, I really like this background. So I'm not going to use too many. If you want to use more, that's okay. Now I'll probably go around this with my Posca pen, my black one, to make it stand out. Let's use some of these beautiful stems to kind of create our own addition here. Okay, and I believe that is all I'm going to do to this page because I really like it. Let's go ahead and use our Posca pen or an acrylic paint pen. And just go around these words here. I wish I had a gold Posca pen. That would be beautiful to outline these in. I'm sure they have metallic Posca pens. There. Now it kind of stands out. I'm trying to decide if I want to go around this little creation here with my Posca pen to make it stand out just a little bit more. Yes, I think I will. Now, I will say, if you don't want to gesso your page, you do not have to. I know a lot of people like to gesso their page. I just find, and as you can see here, I'm having to hold my sticker down. It does change the way that your sticker adheres to your page. But I did not want my inks to bleed through on the other side of my page. Even though I had some ghosting, it didn't necessarily bleed. So there's pros and cons to using gesso, but because Ranger inks are so heavily pigmented, if you don't, it will actually bleed through on the other side. Let's go ahead and do this one too. So that is your personal preference and your personal choice on whether or not you want to gesso. It also changes the way that your page takes the medium, the color, the ink. Okay. All right. So there we have our page, and I'm really excited about the way that this turned out, and it was very simple. It didn't take a long time, and it gives it just a different effect. So if you liked this technique tutorial and this kit, be sure to click that like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to Bible Journaling Ministries YouTube channel. Click that bell to be notified of all new videos that come up. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.